Okie dokie artichoke. So now that we've covered exactly what form matter can take, whether, well within the scope of Regents chemistry, whether or not it's a solid, a liquid, or gas, we're now going to talk about how to separate different forms of matter or different elements or compounds when they're mixed together. So this is kind of a throwback to 1.1 when we talked about heterogeneous and homogeneous mixtures. And also, there is a vocabulary term that Mr. Cericola and I kind of forgot to include within this PowerPoint. Our bad. It's aqueous, AQ, and it refers to solutions. Okay, so we'll get more into that later. But right now, we have the do now, which is odd to be completing as part of your homework, I know. But pause this video for 3 minutes right now and take the time to fill out your answers through either highlighting or bolding or writing the letter of your response next to each number question. And we will go over the answers in class tomorrow. So, moving on, okay? This word solution involves several prior vocab words that you're going to need to learn, okay? So number one is solute. It is the substance that is being dissolved. So Mr. Cericola and I are caffeine addicts. Mr. Cericola loves his Dunkin' Donuts. I love my espresso, okay? So right now, if you look at this example of sugar being dissolved into coffee, right? The solute, in this instance, the substance that's being dissolved, is the sugar. Everybody see that? Okay. And next we have the solvent, right? So we've already determined that the solute, in this case, is the sugar, and the solvent is the substance that dissolves the solute. So what is dissolving the sugar? That would be the hot coffee, right? Because it is the liquid that the sugar is being dissolved into. And together they form a solution, which is very specifically a homogeneous and evenly mixed, even throughout. So a homogeneous mixture of substances in the same physical state. So what does the same physical state mean? Obviously, the solute, the sugar, was solid, right? But then it melts. Remember when we talked about melting point? It melts, it dissolves into the solvent, the liquid, and it forms together an aqueous solution. Aqueous, this is really important. So all solutions, when they're referred to in chemical equations, remember we have liquid, which is like water, gaseous, which is represented by a G for gases, S for solid. Whenever we're talking about solutions in a chemical equation, we refer to it as AQ, in little parentheses, italicized. Okay? So the solubility of a substance is a measure of how much solute will dissolve in a certain amount of solvent at a specific temperature. So everyone, well, maybe I'm just a sugar addict, but a lot of people have probably experienced the fact that melting sugar into hot coffee is a very different experience from melting sugar into like cold water or cold coffee or another cold liquid, right? So at different temperatures, different amounts of solute are going to be able to dissolve into that liquid. So the solubility of a solute is basically a measure of how much of it can dissolve into a certain amount of solvent, liquid, at a specific temperature. Okay, so this is a brief overview of the in-class activity that you guys are going to do. Feel free to pause it. We're obviously not, because of COVID reasons, we're not going to have you guys be working in groups in person, but you will be working in groups virtually. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.